I've got a question for parents and educators. It's one they ask me a lot. How can you stop kids' meltdowns and gain their cooperation? I want to talk to you today about something I've learned over 21 years of coaching parents, training educators, and certifying parent coaches. It's a whole new way of improving behavior using a totally different perspective. It's about two things, trust and connection, which are what we all need to survive. A couple I'll call Sarah and Evan came to me for parent coaching. Here was the bedtime scene with their 10-year-old Sam. Evan said, "Sam, it's time for bed. Get up and brush your teeth." "Whatever. I told you to get ready now. You can't make me. Listen here, you get upstairs and brush those teeth or there won't be any video games for a week." "I don't care. Take everything away. I'm not brushing my teeth." An epic meltdown ensued almost every night. In our parent coaching sessions, we wanted to fix this problem, so we looked at other ways of getting Sam to brush his teeth. Instead of commanding and threatening, we worked on collaborating and saw some incredibly different results. Evan tried the new approach. "Sam, did you notice what time it is?" "Bedtime." "What happens at bedtime?" "Duh, we get ready." "What's the first thing we do to get ready?" "Brush teeth." "Who's in charge of that?" "I am." "When do you think you'll do it?" "Right now." Yes, the tone of voice is not what most parents would like, but the fact is that when Evan trusted Sam with the task of getting ready for bed with a little curious questioning, Sam got ready and a 25-minute meltdown was avoided. His dad had learned to connect before he expected. As I've worked with parents on this type of resistance, I wondered if these kids had something else going on. What if all the willful disobedience was not what we thought? What if something else is happening that has nothing to do with the child's will? Please don't click on the red X. I know you likely think I'm crazy, but I'm okay with that. Maybe sometimes you even enjoy listening to crazy people, so please just stick with me a bit because I have something very powerful to tell you that may just relieve your parenting challenges. Our instincts tell us that the number one way to get good behavior from kids is to set clear rules and stringently stick to them no matter what. If the rules aren't followed, we issue consequences and expect better behavior the next time. And it rarely works long term. We get caught in a cycle of judge, blame, punish, repeat. Here's a video of my dog, Mr. Willis, in a similar situation. His instincts tell him to dig at the chair to fluff it up. He does this over and over, hoping for some comfortable fluffiness. But the chair is made of flat material and doesn't change one bit despite his best efforts. You're doing the same thing when you parent from your instincts. They often aren't helpful, but that doesn't stop you. It also doesn't get you the cooperation you want. Believe me, when my 3 sons were kids, I tried going with my old instincts too. It didn't work. I was a lot like Mr. Willis, and I really wish I'd known then what I know now. Why do parents, including my past self, feel as if we need to be the boss of our children? I think it's because we don't know what else to do. We may have been raised in a situation where kids were supposed to do what adults said, no questions asked. But today, it's not working. Parents and teachers are at a loss. This results in big anxiety for adults and children alike. How do my coaching clients lower their own and their children's anxiety to gain cooperation and even strengthen the trust in their relationships? They connect before they expect. My coaching clients include the ones whose children are living in stable homes, some whose parents have separated and divorced, and those who have had major trauma landing them in treatment foster care. These birth, foster, and also adoptive parents find success by understanding how their children's bodies react to communication from them, and by changing their child's automatic physiological response. They're using the unseen responses from the child, the stuff that's happening in the brain that's just as real as, say, sneezing. Let's look at our normal responses when we can see what's happening with our child. If he's cold and shivering, we offer a jacket or a blanket. If she's running a fever, is lethargic, and has red eyes and a hot forehead, we give medicine and keep her home. If he has a cut on his arm, we stop the bleeding, clean the wound, and place a Band-Aid on it. But what about when she's having a meltdown? Is there a body response that we can't see? The answer is yes. And can we help that response turn to calm by using a compassionate approach? The answer is absolutely yes. A big mistake society has made is to separate the emotional from the physical. When a human has a big feeling and then goes into fight or flight, it's a physiological response. It's not disrespect or defiance. It's not misbehavior. It's not guilt for being bad. It's the body trying to protect us. The issue actually lies in emotional safety. When kids feel safe, they cooperate. When they don't, they rebel or withdraw. Their version of fight or flight. Am I saying that your 4-year-old who screams, hits, and kicks when he doesn't get his way is innocent because he's just having a body response when you tell him he has to get dressed? Am I also saying that your 11-year-old who swears at you when you ask him to turn off the video game is innocent because his body is reacting? And could I possibly be saying that your 17-year-old who, when she's not holed up in her room on social media, refuses to come home by curfew is innocent because something physical is going on in her? Yes. Let's talk about the child's body and the protective mechanisms we can't see that often get misinterpreted and cause big conflict. Near the brainstem, where the survival mechanisms like breathing and blood pumping live, is a small organ called the amygdala. Its one and only job is to ensure the survival of the child. It has no nuance. It's either on or off. The amygdala is the threat alarm. It's telling the child, if your parents or your teachers upon whom you are dependent for your physical and emotional survival see you, you'll survive. If they don't, you won't. So get their attention. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative attention, just get their attention. Any adult attention, harsh or compassionate, reinforces the behavior, guaranteeing you will see it again. The amygdala just doesn't care. That makes the kids look like they don't care as well. Your child asks to go out and play with friends, but it's bedtime. Your typical reply might be, "No, you can't go outside right now. You know it's bedtime." Kapow! The tantrum starts, and it's 45 minutes until you get him into bed. I work with parents on this type of issue a lot. I'll name this couple Beth and Rashad for another example. Their daughter Alia says, "I only want to be on my phone with my friends. I don't care if you need the dishes done." Rashad has seen this so many times, and he's at a loss for what to do. Beth replies with, "You can't spend your whole life on the phone. We're paying for it. Give me that thing right now." Alia holds on tightly. Beth grabs her arm, and they're in a physical fight over the phone. Beth wins the fight, takes the phone, and the next day it's the same scene all over again. The disconnection Alia feels spills over to her entire relationship with her mom. She's not feeling seen. Her brain is saying, "Get your mom's attention," to survive, and when she does, even in the form of a fight over the phone, her amygdala is satisfied for a second, but it doesn't last. I coached Beth to connect with Alia's present moment emotion by reflecting her feelings. She said to Alia, "You really want to stay connected to your friends. They mean the world to you. Tell me some of the best things about them." Things got better almost immediately. Beth calmed Alia's threat alarm by listening reflectively, which led to a wonderful, inclusive discussion on phone use. Alia agreed to charge it in her parents' room starting at 9 p.m. every night because she felt seen. We often don't realize just how hungry the child is for this connection. Another part of the brain, called the prefrontal cortex, or PFC, is the rational, reasonable part of the brain. It's the general manager, and we parents love it because it's where logic lives. It's neighbors in the same skull with the amygdala, which is no way logical but emotionally reactive. The amygdala and the prefrontal cortex never talk to each other, and they never work at the same time. So the child is always in threat mode or general manager mode. The goal is to decrease the threat and increase the manager, where planning and good decisions can take place. Here's another example of hearing the child's feelings to help calm the threat alarm and bring out the rational part of the brain by using reflective listening. Your daughter says, "I'm so mad at you because you're just not listening." You reply, "You're mad at me because I don't listen to you." "Yes, you have to listen to me." "I hear you. You really need me to listen." This is not condoning her negative talk, which it feels like at first, but it does something very powerful. It registers in the amygdala as being seen, assured of emotional survival. The brain calms right down. The negative behavior has lost its purpose, which is to get you to see her. Your daughter feels safe, behavior improves, and connectedness is strengthened. Once reflective listening calms the amygdala, your child is freed up to cooperate as the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, comes online. Only then can logic be shared and received. Our friend, the PFC, is normally fully developed by age 25 in males and 23 in females, but we can support its development all along the way. Sometimes I think we're so busy telling our children what to do that we're actually delaying prefrontal cortex development. If we don't invite our children to be in their decision-making mode, we're slowing its progress. So instead of tell, ask, ask, ask. How does that work, you might be wondering? How is one of my favorite words. You might try, "How do you think we should decide on screen time? Let's keep talking until we can both agree." Or, "You want to watch The Incredibles again. How does that work with the fact that your science project is due tomorrow?" It's simple. Just remember how. In other words, the best, most effective ways to get cooperation from your child are to help him feel emotionally safe and seen, to include him in your thinking process, and then to trust him to think for himself. To do that, connect with his present moment emotion by reflecting what he's feeling. Then include him in the decisions as the rational part of the brain comes online. Once it does, you'll be amazed at how much the behavior improves. This is exerting your power in a loving way instead of attempting to control. I call it connect and reflect before you expect. I talk about the way communication affects the child's body because it's really the quickest way to bring about trust, connection, and cooperation in your family life. When you think about it, if a child has another physiological condition, one we can see, we don't get mad at them for the results of it. If your son is squinting at the smart board at school, his teacher wouldn't dream of saying, "Read that board or there will be consequences." He'd respond with empathy and send a note home about getting an eye appointment. If your child has an ankle sprain, you wouldn't say, "No excuses, you're running in the track meet tomorrow no matter what. You made a commitment to the team, now get out there." No, you would take her to the doctor for an x-ray and a splint. But when it's the brain that's showing signs of distress, we forget that the brain is just as much a body part as all the others, and we lean toward judgment, thinking it's a decision on the child's part. We might say, when are you going to learn to listen when I ask you to straighten your room? We need to tighten the rules around here and increase the consequences. But that rarely works to help the child feel safe, free to cooperate, or to build trust between you. We ask kids to make a better choice when the decision part of the brain is turned off. Refusal, name-calling, backtalk, and swearing are usually not a choice, but a survival mechanism of which the child is totally unaware. When Sam refused to brush his teeth, his brain knew refusing would get his dad Evan's attention. He didn't realize it, but all along his brain was just helping him survive. When it calmed down, Evan saw a brand of cooperation he never expected, simply connecting with him. Sam went to bed with no argument. When Alia insisted on constant phone use, her brain said, "Get your mom's attention. She's not seeing how much this phone means to you." Beth really listened, and they came to a peaceful decision together on phone time. Just remember, to gain cooperation, reduce anxiety, and calm the threat alarm in the brain, connect and reflect before you expect. It might help you to start visualizing the child's meltdown in your mind now, followed by your compassionate response. Practicing in your head can make it go smoother when the situation arises. Then you won't end up like the old me or Mr. Willis. Thank you.